pay you, but you're gonna make them even more money in sales. So you need to be selective. You need to look at it as these companies all want to make money off of me. Which companies deserve to make money off of me? Your following is everything. Your following is the most valuable thing. Never trade in the quick buck of a sponsorship, because they're all temporary, for the quality of your following. It's crazy to think about the fact that I am 27 pounds lighter than I was at this time last year. I haven't been dieting since this time last year, obviously. I just started the cut in June and doing it really slow to maintain all my strength and size. But I stayed around 200 pounds up until June, but I did get to a high of 206 at one point. I think it was around this time last year. I shall continue this cut and venture deeper into the 170s until I'm fully shredded. And then the goal is to remain shredded and strong as fuck. Look at the veins after some carbs right now. After being low carb all day, all week, and having some carbs, oh my God. Because I'm not like a super vascular dude, unfortunately. So that's like really cool to see. Get a little vascularity going in the arm. Damn, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool. Bloated me a little bit, but it's all good. I'm not a super vascular dude, just like some people are naturally more veiny, and I'm not really. So this is cool as hell to finally see popping through. Everyone can get a little veiny when they just get lean, so that's what's happening here. Some of you like are probably able to keep veins all the time no matter what, and you're just like, dude, you have baby veins. Stop. It's not that exciting. Switching things up today, and I'm giving the close grip bench a try for the first time in ages. Someone recently asked me what I can max out in close grip, and I have no idea. It's not really an exercise worth maxing out in, but I do like working up to heavy singles, same as I would with the bench. But I'm gonna give it a shot today. Anyway, quick little fun fact about close grip pressing that I get into in my bench book. Big mistake a lot of people make is gripping it really close like this. Sometimes even their hands together. All that's gonna do is break your wrists, man. You're putting a lot of pressure on your wrists, and then you're ultimately in a much weaker position now, so you're actually shortchanging your triceps. You wanna be able to move the most amount of weight possible efficiently with clean form, so you can overload those triceps and work them. So if you're here, you're never gonna be able to press as much as you possibly can, and it's just gonna be straining your wrist. I recommend shoulder width. You can do maybe just inside shoulder width. Some people can even get away with like right at shoulder width, depending on your build. Everyone's build is different. If you're somebody with a broader shoulders and shorter arms, you can do a right shoulder width sometimes, and that'll be fine. And the thing with this is, if you have this shoulder width grip and you're benching correctly with your scapular retract, you're going to be in a more tucked position just by simply lowering it down. You don't even have to force it. You're automatically, because you can't go, unless you force your elbows way out like this, which just you would never do because it's dangerous and it's just not even natural. You have to force your elbows out. So just naturally, if your scapular retract, your elbows are going to come down in a very tucked motion, no matter how wide your grip is, if it's within shoulder width, and you'll end up landing a little bit lower on your sternum, and you'll target your triceps no matter what. So the whole them needing to be here is a huge misconception. It's not efficient, it's dangerous. Shoulder width, maybe just inside shoulder width is good, and just lower it a little bit down on your sternum, lower than you would on a normal bench. Let's go. Ready?
1, 2. Pretty damn well, dude.
Yeah. Not being used to them.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I am absolutely freezing today. It's really cold today. It's like the first cold day, but I'm down to like lower body fat, lower calories in general, and I'm fasted right now, so I am freezing. Ready?
1, 2, 3. Gosh. Come on. Oh, yeah. Good shit.
That's as heavy as I'm going today. This is my first time doing these in a long time. But 335 pounds at a body weight of 179 pounds. It's not too bad for the first day back. So I was just curious how heavyweight felt with these, but honestly, I usually do higher rep sets with these, sets of 8 to 10. Usually no lower than like sets of 6. And again, man, I know the internet's gonna say that this is not a true close grip because they're used to like the bro way of doing it, but just, if I may say, look at the source. I've built up my triceps pretty big and pretty strong. And this has been the staple in tricep building for me. So I mean, the results don't lie. And then again, look at your favorite heavy ass big lifters. 99% of them use this sort of a close grip. That knuckle to knuckle close grip, that's like high school football coach who doesn't know how to work out teaching you type of shit. Don't do that. How do you get sponsored? I get this question all the time. How do I get sponsored in the fitness industry? So I'm going to answer that, but I'm going to break it down into a few different stages. One, I'm going to get into first how sponsorships work, like the different types of sponsorships, what my sponsorships look like. 2, I'm going to get into how to get sponsored in the fitness industry. And 3, do you approach sponsors? How do you approach sponsors? Do you let them approach you? And then finally 4, basic ground rules of sponsorships. So first and foremost, the types of sponsorships. You start off with usually just product for promotion. This is when you're just getting started and your following's still very small, very new, and you're just starting to grow it. Ariana gets a lot of these deals because her goal is not to become a social media person at all. Like, she has her own goals outside of social media. So she has a decent little following, but she's not worried about building it up to like the way I am. So she'll get offers from companies, hey, we'll send you this in return for some promotion. And that can be cool. That's a great way to start off. That's when your following's not big enough to make sense to actually invest money into you, because they probably won't get an ROI from that. But your following might be big enough to where it's worth sending you some of their inventory, and you might be able to generate like a sale or two for them. The next step up would be the affiliate, which is the most common situation you see. That's when you simply have a discount code with a commission for a given company. Usually it's like a customized link that tracks who clicks on it from you as well. And those are pretty chill because they're not an exclusive contract. You're not a contracted athlete. And so there's no like certain amount of times that you have to post for the company every month. So if you feel like posting once, if you feel like posting once every 6 months, that's totally your choice. And it's a win-win for everybody. You get what you put out. So if you feel like never posting, that's fine. The company's not wasting any money on you by paying you, but you're not making any money either. And then when you do decide to post, say you generate some sales with that discount code of yours, the company will pay you a commission, but they're only paying you after you've already made money for them. So it's a win-win for both people. You get paid when the company gets paid. If you don't feel like promoting it, you won't make anything, but the company doesn't lose anything on you. And it's usually not exclusive either, so you actually have the freedom of using other brands, which is also really cool. So that's an affiliate, and that's like the most common way things are done. That's how it was done with me with RTN and Cellucor back in the day. Then you graduate to becoming an actual contracted sponsored athlete, which is where I'm at, which is where pretty much all the YouTubers that you see me hanging around with are at. For a channel my size, I can't get into exact numbers because usually you sign a non-disclosure agreement and you can't get into like the specifics legally. But I can just say in general, a channel my size, you'll get usually, $1,000 to $3,000 a month flat rate. You get a fixed flat rate, like a salary. So every month you get a certain amount, $1,000 to $3,000 for a channel my size. As you get a little bit bigger, some channels that I'm friends with are getting $5,000 to $10,000 a month flat rate fixed. And then usually you'll get a discount code on top of that with a commission on top of all that. And that can be as much or as little as you want to use it. If you never push that code at all, you just keep it in your info box, you might only generate a few $100s every month from it. If you push it regularly, you might make another $5,000 to $6,000 off of that discount code. I know one YouTuber in the fitness industry who made over $100,000 off of the commission code in 1 month once. That's insane. I've never come close to sniffing that, but that's my point. You can make as much or as little as you want. So, a sponsorship for me, if it's, $2,000 and then say I push, $5,000 in commission that month, $7,000 right there in 1 month. And then you diversify too, so you might have a supplement sponsor that's set up like this, then you might have a clothing sponsor, then a watch sponsor, a shoe sponsor, whatever. You have all these different sponsorships, and they're all set up pretty similarly with the same similar income, and that can add up pretty fast. So it's not uncommon for YouTubers in the fitness industry in the hundreds of thousands of subscribers range to be making six figures off of sponsorships alone, you know, at the very least even 40 to 50 grand alone just from sponsors. It's pretty awesome because it's all extra income. And then how that usually works is the company will say, okay, we'll agree to pay you this amount flat rate plus a discount code in return for you giving us one post on YouTube every month and maybe 4 posts on Instagram every month, right? That's just like a rough example. So you'll have this criteria that you need to hit every single month. And then you'll also be exclusive with that brand at this point, so you won't be able to promote competing brands. So that's what I was saying about the affiliate, how it can be a lot more relaxed. Not that this is stressful or anything, but it's like you do have to make sure you're putting in your work and making it worth the company's while and hitting their criteria, and you have to be careful not to promote anything conflicting or competing with them. And then from here on out, that just grows. That's pretty much the final structure, and it just grows depending on how big you are. Like I said, some other fitness YouTubers are getting $10,000 a month fixed flat rate plus commission. And then as you get into the mainstream size, even when you're working with millions, it's still the same sort of thing. We'll sign you for X million for X amount of years, and you just gotta wear our shirt at these events or these games, 10 times or whatever. So that's how they work. How do you get a sponsorship? The simple answer, you need to grow a following. If you're in fitness, the biggest misconception I see, is all I need to do is bust my ass and become the greatest bodybuilder I can become, or the strongest powerlifter, and win local shows or win meets, and I'll get sponsors. That's not how it works. That misconception comes from mainstream sports. Like I said, in mainstream sports, you have millions of eyes on you already. Millions of people watch basketball, baseball, football. So when you become the best in one of those sports, then yeah, the millions of eyes that are already watching are going to be focused heavily on you. Then sponsorships will flood in just because you're the best. But that's because there's already millions of eyes on that sport already. In bodybuilding and in powerlifting, you're underground. You don't have a huge following watching that sport. So being the best doesn't really mean anything. I can't name any of the winners of the USAPL Raw Nationals off the very top of my head, aside from the few weight classes that I follow, and that's not an insult. I'm just speaking realistically. I don't even follow football, and I can name probably more football players than I can powerlifters, just because you hear about football all the time. You go to a bar, it's on TV. That's the difference. So how do you become a sponsored athlete? You need to be able to generate sales for a company. What are you as a sponsored athlete? People think it's this big charity thing that you win once you become good enough. It's not. When you're a sponsored athlete, you are simply and only an advertisement for that company. You are an advertising route. So when they invest in you and they pay you, they're investing in advertising. Companies are going to have a budget for advertising, right? And they'll invest some of it into Facebook and Instagram ads. They'll invest some of it into TV commercials. They'll invest some of it into billboards, perhaps. Then they might invest some of it into people with big followings. You are an advertisement. You need to generate sales. So if you don't have a following, you're not going to be able to generate any sales. So here's the perfect example. Say I run a clothing line and I sell my shirt for $25, and I hand you a shirt, as good as you are at bodybuilding or powerlifting. I hand you one of my shirts and I say, listen, I'll pay you $500 this month for you to promote my shirts for me and generate some sales for me. Ask yourself, do you think you could generate $1,000 worth of sales for me? You would have to get people to buy a total of 40 shirts. Do you think you could do that? I need you to be able to make back that $500 I just spent on you. And then I need you to be able to make some sort of a profit on top of that. Because if I'm just breaking even, that's still not worth it for me. I need you to actually make me a profit. So do you think, as good as you are at bodybuilding or lifting or whatever it is you do you think you would be able to sell 40 $25 shirts from me to your following? It doesn't matter if it's 4 people buying 10 of them or if it's 40 people buying 1 of them. Could you generate that money for me? Could you make me a profit? If not, you're not worth me sponsoring. That's what a sponsorship is. You need to be able to generate sales for a company. You are simply an advertisement. That's it. So sponsorships do not care how good you looked at your last bodybuilding show or what NPC show you just won. If no one knows about you, and I get insults all the time, people will be like, Nick, I'm more jacked than you, or I lift more than you, why don't I get sponsors? The simple question to that is, who are you? I don't even mean that in a dick way. I'm just trying to paint a picture here. If I don't even know who you are, how are you going to sell anything? So that's how you get a sponsorship. Build a following. You are an advertisement for a company when you're a sponsored athlete. We'll wrap this up now. I'll make the last 2 points as quick as I can. How to approach sponsors, and do you approach them or let them approach you? In the beginning, you'll have to approach them. At this point, they approached me. But in the beginning, I did approach them. And how do you approach them? You approach them like you would a job. I went up to RTN when I first saw them. I had bought in their creatine and one other product from them. And I went up to the CEO. I met him at a show that I had just won. He had a booth. And I said, hey, my name's Nick Wright. And it's all about your wording. You gotta sell yourself. At that point, my YouTube channel had like 1.5 million, maybe 2 million views worldwide. I wasn't just like, hey, I'm Nick, I have a YouTube channel, sponsor me. I was like, hello, I'm Nick Wright. I'm a competitive team bodybuilder. I just won this show. I run a multi-million viewed video series online all about bodybuilding and fitness. I'd love to be able to highlight your product for you. I think my viewers would love this. You sell yourself. And they'll be like, okay, and they'll work something out with you. And again, when you're starting off, it'll probably be the first 2 types of sponsorships that you're gonna work with. But it's all about building yourself up. Eventually they will approach you, but you wanna be very selective. And this comes to the last point, the rules of thumb. Never, ever, 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 ever even consider taking on a sponsorship that you would not love to use even if there were no sponsorship involved. So if you promote a clothing or a supplement, if you would not love to still wear that clothing or use that supplement on your own time, even if there were no sponsorship, if you wouldn't buy that yourself, don't promote it. Because here's the thing, people look at it backwards. People go to these sponsorships like, please sponsor me, please let me get the privilege of being sponsored by you, and that's backwards. You are the walking advertisement. You're the value. You're gonna bring the value to that company. You're gonna make that company money. They're gonna pay you, but you're gonna make them even more money in sales. So you need to be selective. You need to look at it as these companies all want to make money off of me. Which companies deserve to make money off of me? Your following is everything. Your following is the most valuable thing. Never trade in the quick buck of a sponsorship, because they're all temporary, for the quality of your following. Focus on building your business first and foremost. Make your own money so you're never a slave to some sponsor. Then when you do take on sponsors, make it because the product is something that's genuinely awesome. It's something you love to use, and would love to stand by and promote. And then once you have that established, okay, now we can make this a win-win. I love this shit. I'll happily promote it. I'm gonna share it with the people watching. They're gonna love this shit. And then I'm gonna make some money off of it. I'm gonna make this company some money off of it. It's a win-win. It's all synergy. But you have to make sure you love the actual thing, because check it out, if you sell something, if you're sponsored by something that you don't really believe in, it's bullshit, and you tell your following, oh, hey, buy this, use my code, and they buy it and they realize it's bullshit, well, guess what? You just blew it with that person. You just blew all their trust. They're not gonna take your word for shit anymore. And then you're not gonna be able to sell anything anymore because no one's taking your word seriously because you sell bullshit. So never rip your following off. Treat your following like it's your family. Only accept sponsorships with things that you genuinely fucking love, because then you know you're gonna actually be benefiting your following by letting them know about it. And build that following up, man, because sponsorships are temporary. But remember, you are walking advertisement. How do you get sponsored? Be able to advertise to a lot of eyes. And remember that you are the advertisement, you're the money maker, not the other way around. So be very picky with who you accept as a sponsor. I hope this video helped. I'm sorry for how long it was. I tried to be very thorough. If it did help, give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments in the info box in the comment section below, and share the video around if it helps. Peace.